Welcome back to the WTS WaveStream Podcast, where we explore the edge of innovation, compliance, and connectivity. Today, we're diving into one of the most critical but often invisible parts of business operations, IT support. Whether it's keeping systems online, troubleshooting issues, or deploying new tech across hundreds of sites, it takes a serious team to make it all run smoothly. And that's where Chris comes in. Chris leads our remote and on-site IT support team here at WT Solutions, overseeing operations that span across the US and parts of Canada. He's the guy who makes sure our client systems stay online, secure, and supported. I'm your host, Nicole Townsend. Let's get started.
Good morning.
How are you? Good morning.
How's it going?
I'm doing great, and you are the perfect person to end my week with.
Well, wow, that's just a false statement there, young lady. Because
what though? I was talking with my team about podcast ideas, and the first couple were just kind of playing around, seeing what works, and everybody was like, "You need to have Chris on the podcast because he's so funny."
God, I want to find out who said that.
You're in charge of a huge group of people all around the US and parts of Canada, and you're managing them from Canada, and they're all a remote team.
So absolutely, yes. I manage a team of 30 people to provide IT support, both remotely through a call center help desk application, and then as well as on-site support. We also help the customer with installations of hardware for new builds when they open up new locations. Project rollouts, the customer is quite large, so a project is big, time-consuming, a lot of details, things like that. We help them out with that, and then over time they end up closing some locations. So we'll go in and remove all of their IT hardware, send it out to other locations across the country to help with break-fix issues and things like that. So we kind of do anything IT-based for the customer. It doesn't matter if it's day-to-day maintenance, new installations, removals, doesn't matter. Take care of all of it.
I think when people think of IT support, they think of people just coming in to fix things that are broken. But you guys, you mentioned, you're doing full setups of new builds and then taking down when locations are closing or moving. When you talk about managing those 30 people, how many locations do those 30 people support?
Right now, the number, for this specific customer, the number of locations is hovering around 650.
Okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, they've made some changes, some openings, some closings, some relocations, as you mentioned. So it's right around 650. It's mainly in the U.S. There's 30 locations in Canada, and everything else is in the U.S. So that can definitely be a challenge sometimes, right? The good news is that we have a team that's dedicated to their job, and they help me daily with supporting the customer, whether it be resolving issues, juggling multiple locations in each of their districts or regions. I also have a couple of people that help me out with managing the IT support queue. So ingesting all the calls coming in from the locations, trying to help people remotely. If we're unable to, then of course we dispatch an on-site technician. And then of course the dispatching of the technicians, because there's so many things going on at the same time. We have people that help get the techs out in the field, take care of the issues in a timely manner, and kind of juggle all the balls in the air at the same time.
Wow.
It's busy, but like I say, we've got a great team in place. The biggest challenge for me to manage that is, the final piece of any service-related request, which is keeping the customer up to date with the progress and resolution of that task, right? So,
sure.
Not every project or task is a one and done. Those ones are typically easier because an issue has been identified. You go in, You resolve it. You let the customer know, okay, this is fixed. But on a larger scale task or a project, sometimes the customers require progress updates, right? So, it might be in 2 or 3 or 4 different phases. We go in and take care of phase 1, but you've got multiple locations going on in that phase at the same time. So it's trying to keep the customer posted on all the updates and the progress throughout those throughout the projects and tasks, right?
Yeah.
But like I say, thankfully, my team helps me with that, both in the office and out in the field, to keep that customer updated on the progress of whatever project we're working on. I do my best to do it, but they also help me with that because it is a lot of locations, a lot of people, a lot of tasks, projects.
Yeah, that's a lot to manage
around at the same time. Yeah, so the team is very helpful in that regard.
How do you keep everybody coordinated across time zones and locations? Do you guys have a group chat, a way to communicate? Do you guys have weekly meetings or?
We do, yes. So we use Teams. We have a support chat, for lack of a better term, where everybody chimes in if somebody's stuck on something. They throw a message up on the board. They're welcome to call each other, which they do. They're welcome to call me if I'm available to help them. But the time zone portion, yes, can be tricky. I always have to make sure that when I set up an appointment for service, I need to inform both our technician and the customer of the time that we're going to be there, and make sure I clarify the time zone, right? This is to avoid the confusion of, is that 2:00 your time or is that 2:00 my time?
Time zone math is the hardest part of working with customers across the U.S. and Canada.
Absolutely. I'm in the Eastern time zone, so I always have to remember what location the tech and what location the tech and the address of the customer is, right?
Yeah.
I pretty much have it down to a science now. But in the early days, it took a little while to get used to. I mean, we missed an appointment by, an hour or 2 or 3 because of time zone miscommunication,
Yeah.
But
how long have you been doing this, Chris?
I was a technician for 7 years, and then I moved into a management position. So collectively, between the customer and us, I've been involved with the team for 10 years.
Okay. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and prior to that, actually, I was a vendor for the customer.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked for myself. I did some work for them in multiple different departments, IT, telecom, cabling infrastructure, all kinds of things. I can't remember them all, to be honest with you. It was a long time ago. But I did that for 8 years for them. And then I became part of the organization. So collectively, I think I'm 17, 18 years, something like that, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Did you always know you wanted to get into IT, or did you kind of fall into IT like everybody else?
I fell into IT. Actually, I started as a telecom guy. So my father used to work for a big carrier here in Canada, the service provider. And he ventured off and started his own business. He ran that for years, and then he went to work for a larger corporation, and it became kind of like a side business for him. And he's a guy to alert. He was getting a little tired of working 18, 20-hour days, but, working the 8 to 10 hours in the company that he worked for, and then afterwards going out and doing, service for his customers, right? So he passed along. It was a small company. It was just a one or two man show. So he passed it along and said, "Here, it's yours if you want it." And I started that when I was 21. I took that over, and I built it up a little bit. Built some good customer relationships, and it's a challenge running your own business. I'm not going to say it's easy, and unfortunately, some people have the misconception that you run your own business, you must be, number one, they think you have all kinds of money, right? They think you have all kinds of freedom, and you can go on vacations for 6 months of the year, and it's just not. It's not the case.
Right. It's not always as glamorous as people make it out to be.
Absolutely. And the people that you see that own a business that are, might be taking more vacations now, or might be, playing golf on a Tuesday or something like that. That doesn't start like that. You know,
Right.
there was years and years of a lot of hard work, a lot of time spent, a lot of dedication, a lot of risk in some cases, just to get to that point, right? So people don't think of, okay, well, this person's been in business for 20 years. Look, like they can do this and they can do that, right? But for the first 18, they were working for 20 hours a day.
That's right.
Because it takes time to build that, right? So, it was an adventure. There was positives to it. Don't get me wrong, there's positives and negatives, but I decided that I started a family, and I decided that time with the family was a little more important than going out and fixing phone issue or IT issue at 8 o'clock at night or on a weekend or things like that. So I decided to shut it down. So.
Wow. Yeah. I never knew that about you. That is so interesting. Yeah. When I first, we're, to our listeners who might not know, we're all pretty much, half of us are a remote team. And when I had the pleasure of seeing you in person at one of our holiday parties and see you interact with a good portion of your team members, you guys had such good camaraderie. It looked like you guys had been working together for decades and decades. And I wonder if that comes from the respect they had from you and the trust that they have with you. I wonder if that comes from, what it's like being on the business owner side, what it's like to be on the technician side. You have that insight like all around of what it's like to be in every perspective. In every situation. So you have a lot of empathy when you lead. You know what it's like to be in that situation. I think that's important.
Absolutely. Yes. I think transparency is key. Having that experience. I'm not experienced in everything, Nicole, by any means. I'm not an expert in every nook and cranny of this business. I learn every day.
Yeah.
But having some sort of experience, whether it was once or 100 times that I was involved with something, it's all about helping each other. It's all about helping people, right? So if I've gained some sort of knowledge on whatever it may be, I feel it's my responsibility to share that with the team. I don't keep that in my pocket and not tell people about it, because I used to do what they do.
Yeah.
Right. And I used to be in that position, and getting assistance from fellow coworkers, regardless if it's a managerial position or 1 year period, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you've got someone to reach out to is, I think it's important.
It's really important.
Yeah.
And you're one of those leaders that would never ask your subordinates to do something that you wouldn't do.
Never.
You always have that mentality, and they know that. And I've learned a lot from you, Chris.
Well, thank you very much, Nicole. I appreciate the compliment.
So you talk about how if something's broken, you need to go, of course, have somebody go on site and fix it. If you're building a new location or taking down a new location, of course, you need to be on site. But there's probably a lot of special projects that you do that people might not think about, where maybe there's a large scale upgrade that needs to happen with a certain tool or something else that where it's in addition to the daily tasks and responsibilities of your team, you have to also add this into it, which must be tricky to manage and get it all done. And you've had several of these since I've been working with you that you had to manage.
Yeah, some of them are bigger than others, but sure. Yeah, it's I mean, this is kind of a two-part answer. So, when it comes to remote support, in some cases, remote support is enough, right? I mean, depending on to your point, depending on what that task is, we can remote into a system or a station or something like that. It could be, an OS update or a driver failure or something like that, right? But I think that on-site support also makes the customer feel a little more comfortable with the support that they're receiving, right? There's for lack of a better term, Nicole, there's a face to the voice they're hearing, and the interaction becomes more personal, right? I think it strengthens the relationship with the customer, and it makes them feel like their support team is there to help them with anything they need. It's not just a one and done. type of scenario, right? An example of to answer your question, an example of a time where having somebody on site versus remote. Absolutely. I mean, there's always cases that come up. One that comes to mind was it's not a common one, thankfully, but it was more of a serious issue than anything. We had a case where a technician showed up for a scheduled call to repair a minor issue at a location, whatever it may be. They called into the help desk, they opened a ticket, we dispatched the technician. We were there to fix whatever it was, a monitor kind of thing. While they were there, they spent some extra time reviewing some other stations as well, and then also in the network closet while they were on site performing that service call. After looking through the network closet, we found that the network equipment was overheating. And although it was still online at the time, everything was functioning. We reported it to the customer, advised them that an equipment failure was imminent. We should get this replaced because it's on its way. I can't tell you if it's going to happen tomorrow or next week, but it's not going to last much longer, type thing.
Yeah.
And we returned the following day to replace the hardware, right? So this avoided any downtime with the customer as far as their operations, and also avoided any revenue loss had the equipment went down.
Wow.
Because their payment devices are tied to their IT network, of course, and taking payments from the public.
Oh, sure.
That's a big thing.
That would be a huge revenue loss if that went down.
Absolutely, depending on the duration of the downtime, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but just a simple routine preventative maintenance. Having a look around, spending an extra few minutes.
Being
Nobody
proactive.
asked you to do that. Being proactive, kind of check this, check that. It helped keep the customer facility operating with no interruptions.
I'm sure they appreciated that too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar to the scenario of, you take your car to the mechanic, right?
Yeah.
You take it in for a routine oil change. You need to have your oil changed, but when he brings it in there, he hears something or he sees something and says, "Hey, Nicole, we got to do something about this because, you might break down next week. This thing's on its last legs." So it's just inspection-based, keep an open line of communication with the customer, letting them know how their systems are working, and that can't be accomplished remotely.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I would imagine that a lot of these technicians that go in person, whether that's, I know we have a cadence depending on the location, but
sure.
I would imagine that they build relationships with a lot of these location managers or VPs as they go and fix things for them, and they build a rapport with them.
Absolutely. It's everybody's got. Let's take it to instead of a business perspective, let's take it to a personal perspective. So everybody's got a guy, or a lady, right? So if your washing machine goes down, the guy, the same guy that was here last time, or you need an electrical problem, the girl, the electrician, she was over fixing something before, whatever it may be. It's when you meet people in person and they come and they help you with your problems, it's kind of subconscious that the next time you have an issue with whatever it is, that's the person you call.
Yeah, you can depend on them.
Thinking about it, you can depend on them, right? So very much the managers, I mean, ideally the process is the locations are supposed to call into the help desk. We don't report the issue. We try to help them with whatever we can remotely, but some choose to call their local technician directly, and there's no problem with that because that technician might have worked there for the last 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, they know them.
Relationship there. Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely the on-site support. There's nothing wrong with remote support, but I do think on-site support is just as key for sure.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Hit me. Go ahead.
Rapid fire round.
Get ready for that edit button.
What is your favorite tech gadget that you use most frequently?
My favorite tech gadget. I have to say my phone.
Yep. That you
That's
know
a
what? A
terrible
lot
answer.
of people say that. It's not a terrible answer.
But-
And you know what? A lot of people say both of those things. They say phone and they say it's a terrible answer, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, for what I use it for, I mean, my wife and my kids use their cell phones for more to their capacities than I do. I mean, I like to keep things simple, keep it basic, but the fact of, checking emails, sending messages to my team, of course, I'm not in front of a screen where I, draw up documents and spreadsheets and things like that. You can do that, but
Yeah.
it's just having that where if I need to step away for a few minutes, I can answer that call or answer that message or reach out to somebody at the palm of your hand.
Yeah, you can work from anywhere.
You can work from anywhere, right? And I mean, I would never run meetings from it and things like that, but it's the quick, and it's the availability to the customer, right? Before they existed, right? At 5:00, you can't get a hold of me. I'm gone home for the day.
Do you miss those days?
That's a good question. Well, that hasn't happened in almost 30 years, but I do miss those days sometimes where, but I mean, it's got its positives and negatives. It's in this IT business, it's not a 9 to 5, right? You have to be, and again, back to the time zone, right? 5:00 here is 2:00 in the West, and that's still very much a business day. So, for lack of a better answer, Nicole, I'd have to say the phone.
I think that's a great answer. I'm really excited to hear your next answer for this question. And that is, if your career was a movie or TV show title, what would it be called?
If
your career was a movie or TV show title, what would it be called?
Is Controlled Chaos a bad title?
Controlled Chaos. I love that. It actually sounds like a rock band. I think that's the name of your new band. Controlled Chaos.
So that's a band, not a movie.
No. I like that.
I can
Controlled
stick with
Chaos
it.
Controlled Chaos. You can stick with it.
It's chaotic,
that's
but
good.
as long as we, work together and get it done, it's controlled. But it can be chaotic with the size of the team and the locations we cover. It's big for sure.
I think that's a perfect answer.
I don't know. I'm going to fail these miserably.
No, you're not at all. No, Chris, I know you've seen some wild ticket requests over the years. Do you have a favorite one to share?
Well, there have been quite a few. Yes. We've been asked to replace, these are just the ones that stick out. There's been so many, Nicole, I've forgotten most of them, but the ones that kind of come to mind. Nicole, I've been asked to replace and install TVs into locations so that the staff could watch the Olympics, the World Cup, Super Bowl, things like that. When those big worldwide events are on, I get asked to install. I have been asked to install TVs. Yeah, it's crazy. This one was kind of strange as well. I had somebody ask me if they could take the AV system out of the facility home for the weekend because they wanted to set up a DJ booth for a party they were having, and that they would have it back by Monday morning. And I said I wouldn't advise that, but they asked me for assistance
I think that's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were having some kind of big backyard party or something. They want to set up a DJ booth. Hey, can I use this?
How resourceful.
Yeah, I said, well, I'm not helping you, but if you decide to steal it, that's on you.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Oh, come on. Well, I appreciate it, Nicole. And obviously, I apologize because I've rescheduled this at least a dozen times. I'm sorry.
Look at you. You're still apologizing. No, this was perfect. We got it done. Who cares?
I know. I'm sorry. It's just been okay. And if I mispronounce something, and I need to Americanize it, just let me know, and I'll practice in case we need to re-record.
We'll have to have subtitles.
Subtitles, that's right. How to say this in American.
Chris, thank you for giving us a peek behind the curtain. Your team really is the backbone of everything we do, and I think this conversation shows just how essential solid IT support is for growing multi-location businesses. To our listeners, if you're thinking about scaling, streamlining, or just getting out of the weeds of day-to-day tech issues, our team is here to help. Until next time, stay compliant, stay connected, and keep innovating.